be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
I'm going to tell you where it's going. We're going to have a martial law will be declared in this country over a pretext. I'd say the likelihood is very high that the gang that has taken over this country will declare something, a pretext. They'll create it, the equivalent of the Reichstag fire, let's put it to you that way. And they will use that as a pretext to put in a form of martial law, which will be cheered on by ABC, CBS, NBC, and the other worms in the media. And I will tell you what they will use. I don't know what they're going to use. I don't know what crisis they're going to gin up, but they're going to do something. And I'm going to read you something now. Just before the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia in 1917, late fall 1917, which resulted in the rise of the communists, the rise of the Soviet Union, this is what was going on. There was a crisis affecting every aspect of society. The policies of the government had brought the country to the brink of catastrophe. There was disorder in industry and transport. There was difficulty in obtaining provisions, which, by the way, hasn't happened yet here. Gross industrial production in that year had decreased by over 36% from what it had been in the previous year. In that autumn of 1917, as much as 50% of all enterprises were closed down in major industrial centers. That has not happened yet here, leading to mass unemployment. At the same time, the cost of living increased sharply. That has not yet happened here because the Federal Reserve crooks are manipulating it. The real wages of workers fell about 50% from what they had been just 4 years before. That has happened. The national debt in October of 1917 in Russia had risen fourfold. That has happened. Of this, debts to foreign governments constituted more than over 20% of the debt. What percent of our debt in this country is debt to foreign governments such as China and Saudi Arabia? Is it 20% or higher? The country, meaning the Russia, faced the threat of financial bankruptcy. Well, we are bankrupt. We're just living on basically printed money. And the conditions I read to you describe Russia in 1917, just prior to the Bolshevik Revolution. Now, many of you understand what the Bolshevik Revolution was. Now it led to the collapse of Russia, the rise of the Soviet Union, and communism, etc., and the prison camps, the death camps, the work camps. And you say it can't happen here, and I'm telling you it is happening here. In my opinion, you can call it anything you want. I am not blind to history. I don't give a rat's behind what the vermin in the media say. I am giving you one man's opinion. And since when is one man's opinion illegal? Since when is it illegal for me to bring up historical comparisons and present them as a model of what I think is happening right now? When did that become illegal? When did history itself become illegal? Well, history became illegal in the Soviet Union. They rewrote the history that was inconvenient. And that is happening right now. It has happened for decades in the universities. It happens every day on the media. And when you have a man like me who is an independent thinker, who can put two and two together and doesn't like what he sees going on and fears for the liberty of himself and America, does that make me a man who should be silenced? Should I be silenced? Should I stop asking these questions? Should it be illegal for me to ask these questions? Should any questions be illegal in the United States of America? If you say yes, then you are wearing a swastika on your soul. If you said yes to any of those questions, look in the mirror, and you will see, like with disappearing invisible ink, the swastika slowly emerging on your forehead. Charles Manson was ahead of his time. He was a prototypical progressive. Bakersfield, California. Jerry, you're next up on the Savage Nation. I won't get to you right now. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. 1-800-449-8255. So what else is there to talk about? Tell me what else there is to talk about in this country. I believe that this is a very dangerous time. I believe the administration is manipulating people in a way that it's never been manipulated before. It's totally illegal to use emails the way they're using them. There's only one reporter who stood up to them. His name is Major Garrett of Fox News. And that slimy Salenterate Gibbs made my flesh crawl. I almost needed a bath with brown soap when I watched that cretin try to wriggle out of the lie. It's interesting, though, that even liberals who work for Carter understood what he had done. Even a man who had worked for Jimmy Carter, Pat Caddell, a Dem strategist, the current Democrat, talked about the unsolicited email issue. And you won't believe this when you hear it when we come back. Here is former Democrat strategist Pat Caddell, who worked for Jimmy Carter, who says he's a civil libertarian, saying this, that we're on dangerous ground. And he said, do not trust government, whatever you do. And he said, this White House is not to be trusted. He's a Democrat. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you think Obama is clueless as to what is going on around him, what the people around him are doing? Do you think he doesn't really know? He's just a nice guy and he's surrounded by evil people? That's possible, you know. It wouldn't be the first time. Yes, he's a leftist. Yes, he's a far leftist, but it doesn't mean he's evil. But there are people around him who are evil. And you must understand that in every government there will arise tyranny unless the government is constrained. That is how America was created, with a separation of powers, a balance of powers. We have no opposition party. The Republican Party has disappeared. We have no opposition press. It has disappeared. There are only a few voices left in the media, mainly in talk radio. One cable channel occasionally does a very good job. Then there is the Internet. But other than that, they own all the power structure. We're in very dangerous ground. Now, am I alone in saying this? Are there any liberals who believe that I am right? Former Democratic strategist Pat Caddell defines himself as a civil libertarian, and he says we are in dangerous ground as to what the Obamaites are doing with emails. He worked for Jimmy Carter. Listen to clip 3.
This is really dangerous ground. Look, above all things, I'm a civil libertarian. Liberty is very important. Do not trust governments, whatever you do. That's having been close to them. This White House, what they are doing, and we saw it in the Clunker program, something's going on. This notion that they can track people and use people is going to infuriate Americans. To pretend and to do it, first of all, they should understand this is dynamite.
Now go to clip 4.
Can you imagine if George Bush, what people like me would be doing, and what people in that press room would have been doing, if this were George Bush and Karl Rover sending the emails, they would not be sitting there like sheep.
Okay, now go to clip 5.
I cannot believe how sensitive they are to public opinion. You're the president, you should not refer to people through the DNC as mobs and put that on TV. You should not, on the one hand, then say, oh, I'm for free discussion, but, you know, this is right over here. Look, this politics by the Chicago way, the president's above it.
Okay. Well, now you've got a little picture of this from a Democrat strategist who worked for Jimmy Carter, who is frightened of this government. He sees what's going on. And if you don't see what's going on, it's because you're blind. Or you agree with the power grab. Or you would like to see fascism in America. You understand what I'm saying to you? Jack